fifth golden ticket.
I would love to see the chocolate factory. It will be so much fun to be surrounded by chocolates.
This reminds me of a story about Charlie Bucket. It is called the fifth golden ticket. One evening, when Mrs. Bucket was serving evening soup to Charlie's grandparents, she heard him shouting, "Mother, Mother, I've got it!" shouted Charlie again as he burst through the front door. "The last golden ticket is mine. I found it in a chocolate bar." Grandpa Joe closely looked at the ticket. A wide grin spread across his face. His eyes started to sparkle. He jumped out of bed, threw his arms in the air, and yelled, "Yippee!" His soup bowl went flying and landed on Grandma Josephine's head. Grandpa Joe was 96 years old and bedridden. But after seeing the golden ticket, he started to dance. "3 cheers for Charlie! Hip, hip, hooray!" The front door opened and Mr. Bucket entered. "What's happening in here?" he asked. Charlie and Grandpa Joe quickly told him everything. "Show him, Charlie!" shouted Grandpa Joe. The golden ticket was beautiful. It was made from a sheet of pure gold. On one side, there was the invitation from Mr. Wonka. Grandpa Joe asked Mr. Bucket to read it aloud. "Okay, here it goes. Greetings from Willy Wonka to the lucky finder of this golden ticket. I shake you warmly by the hand. Many surprises await you. I invite you into my factory for 1 whole day. I will show you around myself, and when you leave, large trucks loaded with treats will accompany you. You must come to the factory gates at 10 o'clock in the morning on the first day of February. You can bring 1 or 2 family members to look after you. Be certain to have this ticket with you for entry. Willy Wonka." "The first day of February!" cried Mrs. Bucket. "That's tomorrow." "You're just in time!" shouted Grandpa Joe. "Calm down, Grandpa," said Mrs. Bucket. "We must first decide who is going with Charlie to the factory." Once again, Grandpa Joe jumped out of bed and shouted, "I will." Mrs. Bucket smiled and then turned to Mr. Bucket. "Shouldn't you go, dear?" Mr. Bucket replied, "I'd love to go, but I think Grandpa Joe deserves the most to go." "Yippee!" shouted a very excited Grandpa Joe. At the moment, there was a loud knock on the door. Mr. Bucket opened the door and found many journalists outside. They wanted to interview Charlie. Mr. Bucket finally could get rid of them all by midnight, and now Charlie could finally sleep.
Wow! How I wish I got that golden ticket and a lifetime supply of chocolates.
But remember to have them in moderation. Too much of anything is bad.